In this video, I'm going to share with you what I think is the #1 side hustle to start in 2024. We're going to talk about why it's so great and how you can start making money with this side hustle this year. My name is Caroline, and if you've stumbled across my channel, welcome. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me. Each week, I share new videos all about publishing and selling books on Amazon KDP, and you're watching one of them right now, so subscribe if you like the vibe. It's the beginning of a new year, and it's that time of year where people are really motivated to make changes, to try new things, and perhaps finally starting a side hustle is one of those things you want to start this year. If the past few years have taught us anything, it is that life can change in an instant, and things that once felt secure aren't really secure at all. Things like your day job, your 9-to-5 job. The amount of people that lost that sense of security since 2020 is just insane. Or maybe you were one of those people lucky enough to keep your job and you got to work from home for a while, but now that things have returned to normal, jobs are returning back to the office, and you might be thinking, I actually quite liked working from home in my pajamas every day. How can I keep doing that? Maybe it's time to start that side hustle. And hopefully I can help you with that. I started publishing books on Amazon KDP in 2020, and even though it was 2020, the beginning or mid 2020, I didn't do it because of the pandemic. I'm lucky enough to live in a place where our lives were, for the most part, mostly unaffected. Life pretty much continued on like normal for us. I was at home with my toddler and it was getting to the end of my maternity leave, and I really just wanted to be able to stay home and spend that time with my daughter, but also be able to make money too. My reasons were different from what yours might be, but that doesn't matter. We all have our reasons. Side hustle is usually a term used to describe earning some extra money on the side or earning a part-time income from some sort of source other than your main 9-to-5 day job. But for me, it became my full-time job, and it can become that for you too. It can be whatever you want it to be. What I love about publishing books on Amazon KDP is that it is very beginner friendly, but it is also something that you can really scale up and build up to be a full-time gig, and sometimes something even bigger. I have shared many a video on my channel about books and about publishers, self-publishers that is, that make a part-time and or a full-time income from publishing their books on the KDP platform. And there are a few different types of books that you can publish depending on what skills you have, whether you have any money that you want to invest in publishing books, and what it is that you enjoy creating. There are books that we refer to as low or medium content books, and these are books that don't have a lot of written content in them. These are books like coloring books, activity books, puzzle books, planners, journals, and notebooks, just to name a few. And then you have high content books, which are books that do have written content in them. And these are the books like the non-fiction and fiction books that you might read. There are also children's picture books, which are short stories aimed at kids, obviously, that you can write and have illustrated. The very first books that I published when I very first started were planners, yearly planners, and I did have some success with these, but they are a seasonal book, meaning they only sell at certain times of the year, and with calendars or planners, they only sell pretty much in the last month or two of the year, which isn't a bad thing. It is good to have seasonal books for little boosts of income throughout the year, but I then decided to create books that sell year round, and we call those kind of books evergreen books because you can sell them at any time of the year, no matter what's going on. And I started publishing coloring books, puzzle books, and activity books. I also do have children's picture books, which I've made a bunch of videos about. And this year, my goal is to also start publishing high content books. I personally love all types of books, and I enjoy creating a range of different books. And so you might want to do something the same if you're similar, but you might just find one type of book that you like creating and publishing. And so if that is the case, that is fine. You can just stick with that too. There is no right or wrong way. Another thing that I love about self-publishing books is that you can get started without investing a whole lot of time or money when compared to other online businesses. Depending on the types of books that you do want to publish, some are very quick and easy to create. Books like notebooks and journals are pretty much just lined pages repeated over and over. Literally anyone can make an interior for a notebook or a journal. And if you can't or you don't want to, there are plenty of interiors available for free that you can use, or or you can purchase very cheap from websites like Creative Fabrica. If you want to publish more detailed books like coloring books or activity books, you will need to buy coloring page images, whether that be through a stock image store or paying someone to create the images for you. You may even want to invest in an AI tool to be able to create those kinds of images for you. Creating activity books or puzzle books might require you to purchase a tool or some software that will help create the puzzles and the activities that you'll need, but you can create all these kinds of books for a pretty affordable price. Even children's picture books can be affordable to make. I think a lot of people are held back by the idea that you need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars hiring an illustrator for your children's book. But the thing is, you don't always have to hire an expensive illustrator. There are other options like purchasing individual illustrations and then constructing and creating the pages yourself using those illustrations. High content books are usually the kind of books that are going to require the biggest investment of money to have made, especially if you can't or you don't want to write them yourself. And if you do write them yourself, the biggest investment really is going to be your time. But if you do need to have somebody else create the book for you, it might not be as expensive as you think to have the book written. There are lots of books out there written by ghostwriters, including many famous books and books written by celebrities. And ghostwriters are just a writer who writes a book for somebody else, but they are not credited as the author of the book and they are not named anywhere on the book at all. The next thing that I love about Amazon KDP is that it is a print-on-demand service. I get regular comments on my videos asking where I get my books printed or how I get my books printed. But what makes KDP so great is that they take care of all of that for you. And you don't need to outlay any costs up front in order to start selling your books. Another thing that I love about self-publishing with KDP. Print on demand means that a product, in this case a book, is only printed when there's a demand for it. So you create your book, you publish it on Amazon. It's available for sale. Customers are browsing and looking for a book exactly like yours. A customer sees that book and buys it. Amazon then prints one copy of your book, packages it all up and mails it out directly to the customer for you. Amazon will then send you your cut of what you make from the sale of that book, which is what we call a royalty. So you don't even have to pay for anything up front before you even sell a book. And what makes this so great is that you are not wasting money printing books that might never sell, leaving you with piles of stock that you just can't get rid of. It also means that instead of spending your time packaging the books up, taking them down to the post office to mail, you can focus your time on the important things and the things you probably enjoy more. And that is things like marketing and promoting your books and creating and publishing more books. So how do you decide what kind of books you want to publish? Because there are literally thousands of different kinds of books in hundreds of different niches that you can choose from. The first step is to get on Amazon and just have a browse around. Have a look at the different categories, at the different niches, and look at all the different types of books that are currently available for sale. Take notes about what kind of books are selling and jot down ideas about books that you think you would enjoy creating or that you think would sell well. Now, just a note here, the point of this isn't to copy anyone else's book. You definitely don't want to do that, but use it as a chance to get ideas and get inspiration. If there's a book or a niche that's popular, have a look and see if you can figure out why it's popular, why Amazon customers are buying it, and then think about what you can create that is a little bit different, a little bit more unique to you than what is already available. How can you put your own unique touch on it? In terms of low or medium content books, books that are always popular are coloring books, puzzle books, educational activity books, and journals. You can use the books category here on the side menu and just browse around if you're not sure what keywords to search for. If we scroll down here, we can see that there are many different categories in the book store on Amazon. And if you click further into one of these, there will be even more niches and categories within that top level. So you can drill down even further into all the different types of books that are available on Amazon, and that are selling on Amazon. Or you can type a keyword of a specific niche that you think might be popular and see what comes up. Let's use coloring books as an example. Coloring books is what we would say is a top level niche. You generally want to drill down further into this, into a sub niche within the coloring book niche. So for example, we have an ABC coloring book, so a coloring book aimed at children. We have a flower coloring book, we've got patterns, you've got forest, fairies, cottages, and so on. As you're scrolling through these search results, just jot down these more targeted niches that you see and then go back and then go through each one of those individually and look at each smaller niche a bit more and see what's going on in each of them. There is a couple of things to look out for that will help you determine whether a niche is popular and actually has books selling in it. One is how many books are available under that keyword phrase, that search term. In the case of the search term coloring books, there are over 70,000 results for that keyword phrase, which is a huge amount of books published. Then take a look at the BSRs of the books that come up. Now, for anybody who is not familiar with Amazon, a BSR is a bestseller rank. This is a number that is basically given to a book to determine the popularity of that book within the Amazon store. So every book gets given a number. There are millions upon millions of books available for sale on Amazon, and the number that the book is given is out of every single book on the store, not just the niche that you're looking at. For example, this stress relief coloring book has a bestseller rank of 146. So the lower the number, the better. The lower the number, the more books you're selling. These kind of bestseller ranks are incredible. It's incredibly difficult to reach this kind of level, but it is definitely possible. This one here, the Calmness coloring book, has a bestseller rank of 180. The kids coloring book, 294. And then you can see some of these ones up here, which are newer. They've only just been published recently. These ones have higher bestseller ranks because they're not popular yet. If you're interested in an idea about how many book sales would be the difference between those two bestseller ranks, if we take the bestseller rank of 146 into a book sales calculator, it estimates that that coloring book is going to be selling over 7,700 coloring books every single month, or over 500 copies per day. When you compare that to a bestseller rank that's a lot higher, like this one here, 545,000, that's estimating to be selling just 9 copies per month, so less than 1 a day. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the difference between what best-selling ranks mean. So when you are looking for a niche, you generally want to look for bestseller ranks that are lower, and that will give you an indication of whether books are selling. It might also be handy to install a free Chrome plugin like this one down here, where it gives you the bestseller rank directly on the search results page rather than having to open each book up, and that will just save you a whole lot of time. This one is DS Amazon Quick View. For high content books, there are 3 niches that have always been guaranteed to sell, and they always will, and those niches are health, wealth, and relationships. For any top level niche, it's always a good idea to keep drilling down in your research until you find one of those sub niches that is just a little less popular, a little less competitive than the top level niche, but still generates a lot of sales. For example, like we just briefly looked at with the coloring book example, instead of searching for coloring book, you can search for animal coloring book for kids and research this more targeted niche. We can see there's a lot less results for that keyword phrase, but we still have some pretty good bestseller ranks, indicating that these books do sell. Now, I'm not saying that other niches don't do well or that you won't make money if you go into a niche other than the few that I've just mentioned in this video. But if you're just looking for a starting point, if you've got no idea where to start, these ones are good to start with. In terms of pricing and profits, you are going to make a higher profit or a higher royalty with high content books. These books are usually going to be priced higher than low content books, and sometimes they cost less to print. But also keep in mind there are exceptions to this rule, so don't be too strict on your requirements and conditions of a niche that you want to go into or a book you want to create. For example, this guided prompt journal, which is a medium content book, sells high amounts each month. I did a video quite a few months ago now about this specific book. If you're interested in the ins and outs of this book and how much it makes and how they market it, go look for that video. It's very interesting. But for a low content book, it is priced extremely high, $17.99, compared to what pretty much any other journal on Amazon is selling for. They can fetch that price because of their marketing strategy, which is detailed in my previous video, and currently sits with a bestseller rank of 260, which is incredible. So let's say that you have done all your research and you've decided on a book you want to make. You can create it yourself from scratch, and you can do that using whatever program you want, whatever program it is that you know how to use. You will need to create 2 files. One is the interior book, so the internal pages of the book, and the other is going to be the front, back cover, and spine, which is all included in one file. You need those 2 files to be PDFs so that you can upload them to KDP. So just make sure that whatever program you are using allows you to save as a PDF, then you are all good to go. I've used PowerPoint, Canva, and Microsoft Word to create books. If you don't want to create the whole book yourself, you can purchase pre-made interiors from websites like Creative Fabrica for generally very good prices. But if you do this, I would suggest purchasing a file that is editable, because you want to change something about that file, about the design of it, to make it your own and to make it unique. You should never use the file as is if you can help it. Use it more like a template and then add your own touches, make your own changes, just make something about it different so that it's different from how you and probably a ton of other people have downloaded it. Covers are a little bit different because you need to create or purchase something that is unique. Generally, you don't really purchase a pre-made cover, and it is vital to get the cover right because it is basically what sells your book. It's what makes your book stand out from the sea of tiny thumbnails on the Amazon search results page. So for the majority of people, unless you are a book cover designer or a professional graphic designer, paying for someone to create your cover is going to be the best choice. You can get covers made pretty affordably on places like Fiverr. So if you are going to invest any money at all, make sure you definitely invest in a cover. Now, this is the difference between trying to do everything yourself and paying a little bit of money for something far superior. I've just pulled up a couple of examples from Amazon. I searched for flower coloring book, and I just want to show you 2 different covers. Now, I'm not saying bad things about this cover to put anyone down. They probably put a lot of time and effort into this cover, but you really need to be just completely honest about where your strengths are, where your skills are, in order to be able to create the best book you can possibly create. If we take a look at this cover of the flower with lantern coloring book, I can hardly read that font. It's not a good font choice. The color choices aren't good. And this is clearly some sort of clip art image, maybe even a free clip art image that they've just plonked on the front cover of their book. If you compare it to this flower coloring book, you can easily distinguish what this book is about. It looks much more professional and it's just really pretty and sort of gives you an idea of probably what the types of coloring images within the book are going to be. This is another one that I came across that I really just think isn't going to be able to compete with majority of the book covers in the Amazon store. And unfortunately, regardless of how good your interior of your book is, if the cover isn't going to sell it, then no one's even going to look at what's inside of it because they aren't going to get past the cover. They're going to go straight to one of the books that has a more eye-catching, professional, niche appropriate cover. So again, not trying to put anybody down or make fun of their designs and their covers, but like I say, you just need to be really honest about what you're good at, where your strengths lie, and getting help with things that may not be your strengths. Now, once you have your 2 files ready to publish your book, your interior file and your cover file, you are ready to publish. If you haven't already, you will need to set up your KDP account. Keep in mind, you can only have one KDP account, so just make sure you don't already have one before trying to sign up for a new one. It does result in getting all your accounts terminated if they find you have got multiple accounts. Once you have an account terminated, you cannot start any new accounts. And also keep in mind, unfortunately, not every country can publish books on Amazon KDP, so just check whether your country is eligible for KDP accounts. But once you are in your account, you'll just need to click this big yellow create button to start creating your book. With low and medium content books, you are always going to be creating a paperback. If you're creating high content books, you might only be doing Kindle, but it is beneficial to do as many versions of your book as you can, Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. But let's say we're starting to create a paperback. This is where you will start to upload your book. Now, the most important thing that you need to remember with your title is use your main keyword as your book title. So if you are publishing a flower coloring book, that should be the title of your book, because that's what Amazon's customers are going to be typing in the search bar to find a flower coloring book. And you want your book to be as discoverable as possible. So don't make it hard for customers to find your book. The next thing that you want to focus on is creating a really inviting description that really explains to the customer how your book is going to help them or how it is going to make them feel. This is all about evoking emotion from them, because majority of the time people purchase something because of the emotion it makes them feel or the emotion they're going to get from it when they receive it, and then that prompts them to purchase that product. Another thing to focus on is the 7 keyword slots, where you can enter in multiple different keywords that are different to your title but still relevant to your book to help customers find it. Again, it's about discoverability. Keep in mind that in these 7 keyword slots, all your titles or subtitles, you are not allowed to use any other author names, publisher names, or brand names. Basically anything that's trademarked either. Now, the rest of uploading your book is going to be sort of the technical stuff, choosing things like the dimensions, the type of paper you want your book printed on. Then you'll be uploading your interior and your cover file. And then lastly, you'll be setting the pricing for your book. Once you have done all this, it'll take a few days for your book to be reviewed by Amazon, and as long as it does meet all of Amazon's rules and guidelines, your book will be available for sale on Amazon, the world's biggest online store with hundreds of millions of customers. I really hope this tutorial helps a lot of you out there who are looking for a side hustle to start this year, or if you have been thinking about publishing books on KDP but just didn't know where to start. If this is the side hustle that you are going to start in 2024, please let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and follow for more content just like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.